January 15th, 2024. I promise I'm going to work on this whole ring light thing, and the reflections and whatever. Read articles. My ring light doesn't do the things that these articles are suggesting, so it is what it is. And it's also part of me being authentically me. I started this as a way for me to have internal dialogue on the outside of me. I didn't know what I was going to be doing with my video journals. I just knew I had to do them because my handwriting, I can barely read, and my brain goes faster than my hands can keep up. And I thought talking it out would be the best form for me to truly process and say what was really on my mind without the pause of judgment of writing and all of that. So I don't know why I mentioned that, but I did. I am on the Hot Mess Express today. It's the 15th. Sailor died on March 16th. The 16ths are hard for me, and the day before I kind of feel them coming up. And our youngest starts back to school tomorrow. She had a month off because she schools from home on a really great platform. I don't have to teach her, so she's doing quite well. But today I want to talk about I don't want to call it a poem, but a writing that a friend sent me today that said, the gist of it is, I promise you won't feel this way forever. And some of the things that it said is, I promise it won't be the first thought that you wake up to every day about grief and about losing your child. And I remember reading this. Somebody sent it to me within the very first couple of weeks, maybe month. Time is tricky with grief after Sailor died. And I didn't believe it. And reading it again today, it's interesting because there are parts of it that are true that I almost don't even want to admit are true, because I feel like it invalidates some of the grief process and I get some guilt with it, which are things that I know that I need to work on, some of the internal feelings and things, because it's not the first thought almost 3 years later that I have every single morning. Sure, there are mornings that is the first thing that I still think of and tears come to my eyes. But not every morning is it the first thought. Like, we're going to get down to the basics. I thought about it before I even thought, oh, I have to pee. I woke up in the middle of the night gasping for air for, I would say, over 2 years. Gasping for my child. And I'm not 100% certain on the exact time frame that changed or what the catalyst was. But I know that that's not how he wanted it to be. But I had to go through my own process. And I promise you, if you're at a different place in your journey, it's okay. If you're at the beginning, or if you're a few years beyond me and we're having different experiences, that's okay too. But I promise you, it does change. I can now experience joy. There was a time that I could not experience joy. And then there was a time, and I think I've already talked about this, there was a time that I could experience joy, but then I had immense guilt. Like when we were playing games and I laughed hysterically, and I know that I've talked about this, but it's so burned into my mind. I couldn't believe I could have so much fun playing a game and then laughing so hard, and then I came back to the bathroom and I just lost it. But this writing just kept saying, I promise you the weight and the rock in your throat gets better. And I'm here to tell you that I promise you that it does. I almost lost my life in a couple of different ways. And I had to resign from my job right at the 2-year mark because I was in such deep grief and I was having a mental health crisis. I was suicidal. I didn't want to be in a car by myself. And I didn't want to be by myself at all. And the pain was so excruciating still at 2 years. I thought, how can I do this the rest of my life? And then I did almost lose my life with Tinnu syndrome. And finding out that you're dying as a suicidal person is such a conundrum. So fighting for my life to beat Tinnu syndrome, it's hard going back into my bubble now with it and going through treatment again. But I'm here to tell you that I want to live. I promise you it does get better. It's still so painful. There will never be a part where I'm grateful for any of the experience that I went through. The negative experiences that I went through. But I promise you there are things that get softer. Seeing his picture, the first thing I do is smile. Where before I could hardly look at his pictures. Sorry, I'm crying and spraying and everything. I wasn't anticipating this floodgates. Wonder what tomorrow's gonna be like. Guess we'll see. But I smile now every time I think about him. Even the hard moments and even the flashbacks, seeing his face when I close my eyes and seeing him smile. I know that I'm connected to our higher power. I know that he is too. And I am not going to get preachy. Everybody has their own journey. I was angry. I don't even know if I believe for a little bit. That's probably why I shut off a lot of my intuitive abilities. But I promise you, it changes. And I want you to allow yourself grace to go through those changes. And if you've lost a child, I'm so sorry. Or a loved one that just meant everything to you, especially to suicide, because it is a whole different form of grief. I'm not saying it's like worse, I can't compare, but when somebody dies of suicide, it is a complex grief. And I just want you to know that there is hope. This was not where I was going to go with tonight, but I guess that somebody needs to hear this. There's hope. There will be change. Follow our pages, ask questions. I am an open book if you have any questions, any needs, if you need somebody to talk to. I will not stay in a downward negative spiral with you, though. That is where my boundary is. I will acknowledge the hurt, but I can't be in the downward negative spiral anymore. And I'm so thankful that that friend sent that to me. Although it felt weird to read it again, I know that it was divine timing. And I'll try to find it and I'll try to post it to our Sail On and Fly High Facebook page and share that way. But it's impactful. It's impactful. And everybody is at a different space on their journey. And nobody's timeline is the same. Nobody's process is the same. And that's okay. And that's okay. So today I'm grateful that I got that. And today I live life to the fullest by booking an online reading for one of my clients. I am going to make a part 2 probably of this video, because we're getting pretty lengthy here at 10 minutes. And I'll talk about some of my work stuff. But that's all for this. And I promise you that it will change. And that you will find moments of joy. And there will be things that spark your interest. And I promise you that you are loved.